Well, I just received word that it is the end of an era for this Goodman 92.1 AFUE gas furnace. Unfortunately, we have a heat exchanger crack, which is really bad, and I'll explain why it's bad. First thing I want to do is get the door off to show you. And I will explain what is going on and make a video about it for you guys, because this is like a, you know, we need to have awareness to this, because this is a bad thing. This is not even a joke. So, the heat exchanger in one of these furnaces is the component that transfers the heat emitted by these four burners to the air going through it that is going to get blown through your ductwork in your house or building. This is the inducer motor, which is it's similar to a turbocharger. It forces additional air into it to achieve higher efficiency. This is the intake going in, here's the exhaust going out. What happens is, as these things age, and this one is now getting closer to 12 years old, what happens to these is that the heat exchanger can crack, and that's from this years of, you know, the winter where it's heating, and then the summer where it's cooling, and then heating, and then getting cold, and the temperature, and then after a while, the block just can't take it anymore, and then it begins to crack. It just begins to break down. You get the crack. And what happens is, when that crack happens now, the fumes from these burners here, the exhaust gases, will begin to mix with your inside air that is going through the system. What happens is, the exhaust gases for these, which is vented outside because it contains carbon monoxide. But when the heat exchanger cracks, instead of all going through the exhaust pipe, some of that carbon monoxide is going to get into your house through the vents. And that is bad. Luckily, none of our CO detectors or smoke detectors have gone off yet. But we're trying to not have it get to that point. So this is the last day. This is the last time that I am going to be seeing this furnace, and you will be seeing this furnace. And this thing has become iconic for me because, I mean, I did a lot of learning about these systems through this furnace. I learned a lot through working on this and fixing things on this. I can tell you, this little hot surface igniter here that ignites the burners, that you can just barely see it because it's not being used right now, that was actually repaired by me. That's not the original one. So it was this flame sensor also went bad at some point. I think that was in like 2021. And I'm not going to take this one off because there's like a switch, like tamper switch, that might like set some alarm off. Yeah, there is an alarm that will go off when this bottom one gets opened. I don't know what it's for. I just know that it'll do that. But I have had to go in here because the power control module that's in there, the terminals weren't screwed down tightly enough by the original installer, and I had to fix that so the thermostat's connected to it. And I've done a lot of work on this furnace, and I'm familiar with it, and I've gotten used to it, and I know about all its tendencies. And just 1 month ago, when I did my own little inspection, because every fall I do, like I open this like this, I let the whole thing run, I let it run through. These flames here are all blue, like completely normal. But just yesterday, some other servicemen came in here, and then we had rollout flame happening, which is the indication of a crack in the heat exchanger, and that's bad. We don't want our house to have that going on. We can't have that. So this is getting replaced tomorrow. This is out. This is done tomorrow. So this is the last day of it being here. Some writing in here. I know it's upside down, but you guys still see the little icons there. So yeah, I mean, this is it. This is the end of it. I've worked on this. It's because of me that this thing is still here and hasn't been replaced already, because it would have been replaced years ago had I not worked on it and learned about it. So yeah, I'm saying goodbye to it here. This is the end of it. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have here. Goodbye.